While my American friends are watching the undercard of the presidential election, I'm up here in the land of the red and white, watching the black and gold, and coming off the back of TakeOver 31, we've got legitimately a lot to talk about. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your October 7th, 2020 NXT review. We're officially in October. I love Halloween, which means it's really sad this year, living in the COVID times, realizing that basically Halloween isn't going to happen. But we do a Halloween Havoc. We're going to talk about that in a second. Going to do the house cleaning before, as we always do. I want to send out a special thank you to Jake DeMarco for once again joining us for the NXT TakeOver 31 preview thing. We did a lot of good things in that podcast. I specifically want to encourage you guys to go back. We did have a second run at the conversation about everything, speaking out, talking about Velveteen Dream and various other people, and where I find some of the differences in that scenario. Really good podcast. I love having Jake on here for the NXT stuff. I love having Guapo here for the AEW stuff. I love having Kristen here for the Flicks Fix stuff. I am insanely lucky to have the co-hosts that I have. We'll get OKFade back on here eventually to do something. Don't you worry about that. But if you haven't, we're going on a week late now. Go to Countdown Ended on Twitter. Go wish Jake a very, very late at this point in time happy birthday, and check out the charity stuff that he's doing with Extra Life. He's doing some good shit, so go help him out. Coming off the back of TakeOver 31, Ember Moon's back. Tony Storm's back. I'm a happy guy twice. Balor and Kyle O'Reilly are both injured. We get updates on that later in the night. And as I mentioned before, we did get the announcement on Sunday that we are getting finally Halloween Havoc. Now, I love Halloween. I never saw Halloween Havoc in WCW because I was never a really big WCW fan, but some of the weird, famously bad matches happened. Didn't they do the thing with Hogan and Warrior and the paper that didn't light and all that kind of shit? But I love gimmicks. I talk about Shotzi's Tank and Retribution and Robert Stone brand and all the stuff that I'm not supposed to like. Yes, I'm part of the problem. It's fine. I love gimmicky shit. I love Halloween. I love creepy shit. This is tailor-made for me. Everybody else is going to roll their eyes. I couldn't care less. And check off your Spaz Phoenix bingo card. Check off your Destiny Wrestling bingo card. The whole damn thing is being hosted by Shotzi Blackheart. I said, going into tonight on Twitter, if they do not sign Shotzi Blackheart versus Ember Moon as the main event of Halloween Havoc, I really don't know what they're doing. But that's fine. It's wonderful. It is what it is. Now, if you're watching me right now, super sexy face in the gimmick hat, you want to find me in an audio platform, look up Spaz Phoenix Podcast on any podcast platform you like. If you're listening to me in an audio and you want to see the sexy face and you want to see the gimmick hat, look on YouTube, look for Spaz Phoenix. Follow me on Twitter at Spaz Phoenix and at Spaz Phoenix 1. I'm keeping both of them. It's fine. Instagram at Spaz Phoenix. Spaz Phoenix Podcast Facebook group on Facebook, obviously. And yeah, we're going to do some more stuff talking about Jake DeMarco. We do have a couple of other ideas that aren't necessarily pay-per-view previews in the pipeline. It's just a matter of getting together and finding out recording schedules that work and that sort of thing. So there is a bit of extra NXT content coming your way sooner or later. You guys know how I am. I'm going to do something and then I'm not going to do something, and then life gets in the way, like it got in the way this week when I didn't get a chance to sit down and watch last week's episode of NXT UK. So 3 weeks in, and I'm already missing an episode. That bodes well for the future, does it not? Starting off this week's episode of NXT for October 7th, we started off, obviously, with the highlights from TakeOver 31, which was an amazing show. And let me just tell you, coming out of Full Sail, I've said for ages, even back before the end of days, I was really worried about them doing weekly shows outside of Full Sail because that's sort of like their home nest and the environment is pretty specific and all that sort of thing. But the CWC, the Capital Wrestling Center, what they've turned the Performance Center into, it's I could go minutia, I could go details, I could go bit by bit, detail by detail, but it's just fucking good, isn't it? The way they've done the whole like live Skype fan thing, but it's not over the top, it's not bright and cartoony. They've got the fences and there's no barbed wire, but like the look of barbed wire, and they've integrated the virtual fans with the real fans, and they've kept the fans dark so that it's not all bright and colorful like a cartoon like Raw and SmackDown is. They've found the happy medium between Full Sail, a house show, Raw, SmackDown, the Performance Center, and the Thunderdome. And that's pretty fucking amazing. They had to have some real people in there just to change it up. And let's be real, the Performance Center shows for Raw and SmackDown were a bit cringe. Like, you could see the gym in the background. What they've done here, they've basically surrounded the thing with 4 Titantrons, which is no small feat. They've kept the graphics and all that sort of thing, and they have kept the feel of NXT. NXT, the one episode of NXT that they did do in the Performance Center, ironically before the lockdown, it didn't really feel like NXT did it. It felt like a random, I don't know what kind of show, but they've taken the Performance Center, they've turned it into this CWC thing. I love the history aspect of it. You know, people are, oh, the logo for the thing is lame. Let me tell you something. The logo for the Sky Dome is lame. The logo for fucking Pirate Bay whatever stadium in Tampa is lame. The Staples Center is lame. The fact that half the stadiums throughout North America just have a logo of the company that sponsored them is lame. And if you go back, like I did out of curiosity, the Capital Wrestling Corporation, whatever, that was literally their logo. So it's not like they created something new and boring, like Cody's TNT title, let's just say. They're paying homage. They're not trying to tell you something brand new and boring is exciting. Moving on. The only match we had announced going into this show, because there wasn't much. We knew we were going to hear from Ember Moon, and we knew we were getting this match. It's Tommaso Ciampa versus Kushida. Now, I thought Kushida had done us the great favor of getting rid of the Texas Dream on TakeOver. Didn't think he needed to be on the TakeOver, but that's besides the point. Tommaso Ciampa wasn't on the pay-per-view at all, which is really weird. It's really weird. We saw Adam Cole, obviously, in the run-up because he's supporting his boy Kyle O'Reilly, which is fine. Really, really weird to have a TakeOver with no Adam Cole, with no Tommaso Ciampa, and with Johnny Gargano in the mid-card. They put a graphic up. I'm going to mention it when it comes up, but Johnny Gargano's done 20 TakeOvers. There hasn't been that many TakeOvers for one person to have competed in like 20 of them. That's... I don't know, Johnny TakeOver is kind of a thing. Like, he's got his own little, tiny, smaller version of Shawn Michaels' Mr. WrestleMania thing going on already, does he not? They tell the quick story on commentary that these guys were fighting so much in the back that Regal said this match had to kick off the show, which is fine. It would have been cool to see any of that. I looked on Instagram after NXT was over, and after NXT was over, they put some pictures on Instagram of these guys fighting before NXT started, which is a bit backwards, but it's fine. Collar elbow tie up and a slap by Kushida, and it gets returned by Ciampa. Kushida rides a front facelock, and there's a pinning reversal sequence to follow. Hip toss and a drop kick by Kushida, and an armbar driver. I put it out there last week. Nobody answered me. I'm going to call it an armbar driver until somebody tells me that that's not what it is. Forearms by Ciampa, a basement drop kick to the face by Ciampa, grounded side headlock by Ciampa, and a wraparound neck breaker by Kushida. Hogan leg drop by Ciampa, one punch knockdown. Hard Irish whip by Ciampa, modified abdominal stretch on the ground, grinding the ribs that he's not leaning on into the mat. Nice, neat little touch there. Spinning neck breaker by Ciampa, double running elbow. Ciampa, I can't read the back of... I can't read my writing to save my life. Ciampa, back to the side headlock again. That's right, my writing is terrible. If you don't believe me, for those of you on video, there it is. Moving on. Slam against the commentary desk as we go to commercial break. Corner chops by Ciampa as we come back. Knocks Kushida off the top turnbuckle as he was trying to do a top rope something. Stunner style arm breaker over the turnbuckle bolt by Kushida. He's using the furniture, folks. He's using the post. He's using the bolt. He's going to use the commentator desk at some point, I'm sure. Soccer style kick by Kushida, an exploder suplex and a super kick, a one-arm Batista bomb by Ciampa, selling the bad arm, using the good arm. It's cool. Both men trade some shots, both boot by Ciampa. There's a package suplex, is the only way I can describe it. Almost like a fisherman with a bridge, but he had him like wrapped up even. It was, imagine a muscle buster, but not coming from the top rope. Is the best way I can. Series of boots to follow. One punch knockdown by Kushida, because anything you can do, I can do better. Double armbar and some stomps and a hoverboard lock. And just as we're about to get a really, really awesome moment / awesome victory for Kushida, Velveteen Dream comes down and he's got a special purple cast on and he goes to hit Kushida, but he hits Ciampa, so Ciampa wins by DQ. Velveteen Dream ruins everything, including young people's lives. But in all seriousness, Kushida goes after him and like waylays him a little bit. Oh, the feud isn't over, Roddy Raw. I don't care. Why? Ciampa must be thinking, why the fuck am I in this? Because they don't have anything else. You know, creative has nothing for you. But who would this have hurt? Like, jump him after the match, sure. Have the great moment. We've said it. We've said it to death now. The Fatal 4-Way a couple of weeks ago proved it. The 4 pillars of NXT are Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor, and Adam Cole. Baby. So to have Kushida, who's on this rise, who's on this sort of more aggressive, more violent tear, make a very, very significant statement in beating Tommaso Ciampa would have done gangbusters for him and whatever they're planning on doing with him in the future. You could have had him have that moment, had that bragging right. You could have still had Velveteen Dream come along, beat him up after the fact, and you could still tell the story, oh, well, he didn't get to celebrate his moment, but instead we had to do this because we insist on keeping a diddler on television, and it's not cool. Take away the last 10 seconds or so of this match. These two, this should have been Kushida's match at TakeOver without the interruption. This should have been on TakeOver. And if you have to put the Velveteen Wet Dream on my TV, just do it on a weekly episode of NXT. Don't waste my pay-per-view. Don't waste my pay-per-view time, is what I'm going to say about that. But after that, we're pretty much good after that. Ember Moon comes out after the commercial break. She doesn't come out to her entrance, which is a bummer, because I was hoping to hear the old Ember Moon music. Little did I know that doesn't exist anymore, but we'll get to that when we get to it. It's fine. She's in the ring. Rather, she's got a bunch of weird sort of green mood lighting going on as she's talking. She thanks the fans. She tells them she's shocked that she got a microphone, which is blatantly paying attention to the fact that a lot of people don't think she's great on the mic. I disagree. I think in her initial sort of like female demon Finn Balor guys that she was in before, I think they humanized her a bit because they gave her too much mic time, but I don't think she's that bad. Says it's been a long while, 14 months of isolation. Sucks, things have changed. She's going by Ember's Law now. Nobody walks over me, nobody tells me what to do, and Mama wants some gold. Io Shirai, this is... I'm gonna say something and I'm gonna feel bad for saying it, but Io Shirai, our champion, who's awesome, was useless in this segment. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you for why in a second. Io Shirai comes out to address Ember Moon because obviously she's the one with the gold that Ember Moon wants, but she's quickly cut off by Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley's shouting stuff like, oh, we love to see the new attitude, it's great to have you back, but she's quickly cut off by Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, who jumps her on the rampway. Ember Moon hops out of the ring to help. Ember Moon does, what's her name? Io Shirai does not. We'll talk about that in a second as well. Regal comes out because he's actually back in the building, so to speak. Makes our tag team main event later on tonight. Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai taking on Rhea Ripley and Ember Moon. Okay, cool. It's fine. It's really good. I wish she was coming back to a one-on-one match. I wish we had done Ember Moon versus Dakota Kai, but at the same time, we've got that in the back pocket for later. We see Drake Maverick arriving in the back, and here we go. Here's the funny stuff that I love, which makes me part of the problem. Maverick still thinks he's going to be a tag team with Killian Dane. We're not a tag team. Ryder. Of course we're a tag team. I got us a tag team match against Everrise tonight. I've even got us new music. Oh, Jesus Christ. The whole Maverick Dane thing. I shouldn't love it, but it's good. Io Io Shirai's interviewed backstage, hey, you know, when Rhea Ripley was in trouble, Ember Moon went out to save her and you didn't. And she basically said, well, Ember Moon's not my problem and Rhea Ripley's not my problem. This belt is my problem. Which is pretty damn simple. And that's not heelish. That's just, you know, surveying the scene. As somebody who had a pretty fucking good match on Sunday against Candice LeRae, and then 2 more challengers, 2 on the bounce, popped up within, what, 5 minutes in Toni Storm and Ember Moon. Why wouldn't you keep to yourself, circle the wagons, watch your own back? Why would you throw yourself into somebody else's issue, which is clearly not your issue? It's good, it's realistic, and it's logical, and we like that. Undisputed Era are in the back, and they're cutting a promo. It served 2 purposes here. Kyle O'Reilly kind of saying that he let the group down, and everybody's like, no, you put in the showing of a lifetime, and there's all this, there's almost too much brotherhood among the brothers in the Undisputed Era. But also, Adam Cole made reference to his promo last week in his match against Austin Theory, where he said, you know, people are starting to think that they can get their hands on the Undisputed Era. We're going to show them what it's like, and you know, he doesn't know why Ridge Holland came after him at TakeOver, which I really don't want Ridge Holland anywhere near the main event scene. Can we just agree on that? I'm going to feel bad later on for saying that, but right now it's true. Talks about having broken ribs, talks about not knowing why he attacked him, but you know, they're gonna deal with him pretty much. Maverick and Dane versus Ever Rise, and Jesus Christ, the music that Drake Maverick got for them as a tag team is amazingly lame. It's like happy music box shit, and he's dancing to the ring, and Killian Dane's just looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing? Stands there on the apron, watches him get his ass kicked 2-on-1, gets in the ring, and you think it's going to be a double squat. You think it's going to be the 2 sides of the coin. Maverick gets his ass kicked for a while, and then Dane goes in there and has a 2-on-1 squash. But Dane gets back in the ring. He drags Maverick back into a tag. They argue for a little bit. Dane uses Maverick as a weapon. Dane powerbombs his own partner onto one of the members of it. I don't know who the members of Ever Rise are, and I'm not going to fucking pretend. But he powerbombs Maverick onto one of the members of Ever Rise and leaves him there. And that counts as a pin. So they got a win. And while they're celebrating, Killian Dane looks at him while he's being a dork and knocks him out. Again, for reasons. It's fucking great. But then the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes that day, and he might have knocked him out, but he pulls him out of the ring by his fucking foot like a rag doll and carries him to the back, which is nice. They're forming a tag team for a division that kind of doesn't exist. I have no qualms about saying that, yes, AEW are the tag team guys. We are the women's division guys. But like, what are they going? Are they going to do Drake Maverick and Killian Dane versus Breeze? I'd kind of love to see it. I'm not going to lie, but why? In reality, why would you be forming a tag team in WWE? On the women's side, slightly different. We're going to get to that as well. We see a video package on Toni Storm, and it says 3 weeks ago, and it's her in Cancun, Mexico. She said she had to go to where nobody would find her, nobody would know what she was up to. She's training, she's getting better. This is a Toni Storm you never would have seen before, and you're never going to predict what's coming and all that kind of thing. And it's just great. It's just her doing a bunch of training shit, her doing a bunch of like motivational shit, and she's going to be back soon. Now, it's kind of lackluster that you brought back 2 people on the same night, and one we've seen in person twice, and one we've seen in video package twice. It is sort of putting Toni Storm on the back burner, and I don't know how they're going to get around that, because I don't know physically where in the world is Carmen Sandiego, where in the world is Toni fucking Storm. But they're going to need to get around that eventually. They put up the graphic that tells us Gargano has fought at 20 takeovers. The Garganos are out for a walk. I think they're walking their dog. And they're talking about how they both deserve rematches. We're going to have to get our way around it. We're going to have a different theory, a different tactic and all that sort of thing. They get back to their house, and there's a 65-inch TV there from Indy Hartwell. And that's interesting because the whole, the broken TV, Tegan Knox, that kind of thing. And they're always in those jumpsuits, the training pants and the jackets, the pink and the blue, and they're obnoxious looking. But just the fact that they turned around to take the TV in the house and it says power couple on the back. Now, I don't know whether that's always been the thing or whether I'm just noticing that for the first time, but that is fucking, for the little twits that they're being right now, that's absolutely great. Austin Theory, yes, cry about Austin Theory, it's fine. Versus Leon Ruff, lasted like 10 seconds, he won with the ATL, it's fine. Gets on the microphone, sorry, no offense to Leon Ruff, but like, he did a bunch of bouncy shit. He bounced around the ring rather than having a match, and that sort of goes for Theory as well, but I mean, I've seen more of Theory in the ring. I like what he does in the ring. Gets on the microphone and says, Adam Cole caught me off guard last week. Now you're seeing what happens when I'm properly prepared. I am the future of NXT. I'm the future of NXT. I'm the future of NXT. And then Dexter Lumis comes out. 4 reasons. 4 fucking reasons. And they have a match. And I just remember thinking, I hope Austin Theory wins because I really don't give a shit about Dexter Lumis. But Dexter Lumis does win with this. I'm not gonna go through the match because I don't care that much. Dexter Lumis does have a wicked spine buster, I'll give him that, and that side slam into the choke is interesting, if not a little underwhelming. Post-match, he gets a cave-in from Cameron Grimes because they stared at each other in the back last week. If, out of the two of you, I'm leaning towards Cameron Grimes, there's a problem. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez are in the back. They're talking up their match tonight. Ember Moon can't just walk in here like she owns the place. She needs to get in line behind me. And, you know, Raquel Gonzalez, you know, I'm the big one. I'm going to go fight the big one. It's very cookie cutter, but Dakota Kai is just really good at looking and sounding like a bitch. It's really awesome. There's a really long, prolonged highlight package of before, during, and after the Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly match. And I'm not going to go through all of it, but there are highlights from, there's a highlight package of what they did in the ring, everybody else talking about what they did in the ring, the reaction to the match. They focused in on when Kyle O'Reilly got the liver shot and talking to the doctors about how he's not going to make TV for the next couple of weeks. Talked about the jaw injury of Finn Balor and the fact that he was immediately sent to hospital. They had a quick clip of Triple H talking to... You could only see him from behind, so I'm assuming he was talking to whoever else was in the locker room at the time, but basically saying that, you know, these guys went out there and showed what NXT can do. Finn Balor's on his way to the hospital right now. They laid it all out in the ring. All the typical positive Triple H verbiage, but they show the X-ray of him having 2 fractures in his jaw, and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ. But those guys beat the ever-loving fuck out of each other, and that's fine. After this, we see Ridge Holland arriving at the CWC. What, you know, why did you jump Adam Cole, rah, and all he says is, last week I didn't have a Mercedes, and now I do, and I guess I can thank Adam Cole for that. So somebody bought him as a hitman, which takes all his credibility as a character, as little as it was, and takes it down to nothing, because part of character is motivation. And if you were going to start a feud with this guy, then that's one thing. I wouldn't like it, but it would be one thing. If this is just, you are the singles version of the APA, I'm not down for that in the slightest. Ridge Holland took on Danny Burch, which I'm assuming was great. My stream died, unfortunately. Threw it out to our good friend Jake DeMarco and basically said, so I'm assuming that this is just 2 big guys slapping meat. And the response I got back was, yeah, pretty much. And I got back onto my stream towards the end of this match where now Oney Lorcan is involved and the 3 of them are brawling. And there's several suicide dives by Oney Lorcan, who's fucking crazy, isn't he? It does fit into what we see in a little bit, but we see the Garganos watching their new TV and they're watching the women's Battle Royal, you know, the one that everybody complained about because it was so random and it's such a lazy storytelling tool and all that sort of thing. And Candice comes and asks Johnny, like, you know, oh my God, you've got the TV set up already. What is this? And he says, well, there was a USB thing, and I plugged it into the TV and just watch this. Did you notice in the Battle Royal how many times Indy Hartwell saved you from elimination? And then they both kind of say, you know, I've always liked that girl, and which is complete turn on its head from what they had said in the previous segment. Now. Here's where I like this. I don't know enough about Indy Hartwell yet to have an opinion on her. I really don't. If the Garganos are going to take her under their wing and they're going to make a story out of that, it could be good. But more importantly, it solidifies that they are not going to the main roster if they're starting up a brand new story beat with Indy Hartwell, because I doubt Indy Hartwell is going with them to the main roster. That's just my 2 cents on that. We see another one of the weird Timothy Thatcher training camp things. I know what they're trying to do. They're just not doing it. We go back to the CWC, the CWC, and Ridge Holland is still at the side. He's been taken out on a stretcher, and it's not with the typical over dramatization of like a kayfabe injury. He's properly wrapped up. He's got a soft cast all the way up and down his arm, and he's doing the whole, like, the thing that the heels do when something real happens, and, you know, because they do get cheered on the way out, because, you know, we wishing them well, right? Just the thumbs up and all that sort of thing. And thanks to, again, to the JCS Army, particularly Jake DeMarco, saw a photo of where it happened, and basically one of the suicide dive crossbody type things that Oney Lorcan did, basically he took the weight on his back foot, and his back foot just bent, and it's not as bad, thank God, but it made me think of, you know, that picture that everybody has seen at least once of Psycho Sid when his foot broke inside his boot. It's just ugly looking. So lots of people are getting hurt. I don't like it. Dexter Lumis just came back from a bad foot. Ember Moon just came back from 14 months of being out on injury. Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor hurt themselves in their match. Ridge Holland is now injured. You know, Karrion Kross is injured. Shotzi Blackheart risks injuring herself in every goddamn match. The suplex she did on the apron 2 weeks ago, where she basically powerbombed herself on the apron edge while doing, I think it was a sliced bread. It's not ballet, as they say. Shotzi Blackheart versus Xia Li, where I thought we were going right into the main event, but we stuck one more women's match in there because look at that fucking division. Shotzi Blackheart versus Xia Li. Shotzi, because she's hosting the Halloween Havoc show, came out in a Halloween Havoc shirt, and her tank decked out front to back with Halloween decorations and all the kind of corny shit that just makes me... I fucking love Shotzi. It's great. Dropkick by Shotzi to start. There's a splash and an inverted sling blade and a knee lift. Some right hands by Lee, some knee strikes and some corner tackles, but a top rope senton gets a very, very, very quick win for Shotzi. And then Boa, random Chinese big dude, came out and brought Xia Li her papers. And I really want to make a really bad joke out of that, but I'm not, because I'm a good person and I feel good about life today. Your main event is Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Rhea Ripley and the returning Ember Moon. Ember Moon has a new entrance, new music, which is fine. I reacted to the music the same way we all react when somebody gets new music. The way everybody's freaking out about Keith Lee right now, even though Keith Lee's is like generic rock number 5. Hers is a little bit different. It's a little bit more rock-ish. It does make me think of when Lizzie Hale came out and performed her old entrance live at a takeover. But she's not into that creepy creature type of, like I say, female version of the Demon Finn Balor thing anymore. She's got like all these biohazard signs and this weird armor, this weird... I said on Twitter, she looks Mad Max as fuck, and if that's going to be the new direction that her aesthetic goes in, it's good. The ring gear looks really cool. It's a nice repackage. Like, she hasn't totally changed who she is, but, you know, new, updated look, something a little bit cooler, something a little bit more, not in the realm of, like, the Demon and the Fiend and the Undertaker and all that sort of thing. More to, like, this punk rock, like I say, Biohazard, Mad Max aesthetic. And it's really cool. The music will grow on me, I guess, because it's not terrible. It's just not... whatever you call that old... I think her old entrance music was actually called Eclipse. Somebody correct me down in the box below if I'm wrong. Anyways, Kai and Moon start in the ring. There's a takedown by Moon and a senton, a snap suplex by Moon, and she works on the arm. There's a series of kicks by Moon and a splash by Raquel, a leg sweep by Kai, a slap and a missile suicide dive by Moon. And when I say missile suicide dive, she was a WMD flying out of that fucking ring. That was one of the cooler suicide dives I've seen in a long time. Rhea Ripley takes out Raquel Gonzalez, playing up the giant versus giant angle that they've got going on, and then there's a boot by Kai, a boot by Raquel to Ripley to even out the score as we go to the commercial break. Over the shoulder backbreaker on Rhea Ripley by Raquel Gonzalez as we come back. Now, it's a pretty simple maneuver. It's you know, over the shoulder and just sort of bounce them there a little bit. But look at and I gotta be careful the way I say this because it's a women's match. But look at the size of Rhea Ripley. If you can woman handle somebody the size of Rhea Ripley, you're doing something. That's all I'm gonna say. So she holds her there in the backbreaker for a little bit and just tosses her across the ring again. If you can toss somebody the size of Rhea Ripley across the ring, you're also doing something. Shining Wizard by Ripley was cool. Not the greatest Shining Wizard ever, I'll put it out there. Stomps by Kai and a guillotine, a front slam by Ripley, a drop kick by Moon, who tosses Kai into Raquel and then hits sort of a modified low mic check from the knees. Pump kick by Kai, body slam by Raquel, roundhouse by Moon, an electric chair drop by Ripley, chiropractor by Kai on Ripley, just because Dakota Kai is so... I don't want to linger on size all the time, but look at the size of Dakota Kai and look at the size of Rhea Ripley. Jesus Christ. Electric chair by Ripley, a chiropractor by Kai. Discus lariat by Ember Moon sort of came out of nowhere. And then while Raquel and Ripley are battling each other right over the commentator's desk, there's a pop-up powerbomb by Moon that looked really scary because it looked like they almost leaned out of it. Followed quickly by the Eclipse, and the Eclipse is crisp as ever. Obviously, Ember Moon was going to get a win on her return. The odd person out in this is Raquel Gonzalez because anybody else in this match could be going for that women's title at any time. So Moon and Ripley get the win, and they're sort of like, hey, it's cool to team with you. I think of Io Shirai and Damian Priest when they teamed up last week, and they just, you know, oh, I think she's really cool, and I think he's really cool, and we're the rock stars of NXT, but they're not competing against each other. These two were kind of doing the same thing. Hey, it was cool to tag with you. Hey, it was cool to tag with you. High five, we got the win, whatever. But we both want that belt. Now, you throw Ember Moon, Rhea Ripley, and hopefully Toni Storm into that title picture. I think everybody else goes down a peg, but then all you do is strengthen that mid-card, and holy fuck, I don't care. I'm going to say it 100 more times every time I do a review. Look at that women's division. And I'm not coming out here to do some SJW cuck bullshit, but the women's division in NXT is the best thing WWE has right now. It just is. It just is. You could cut that division in half, and each half could put on a pay-per-view. And that's not hyperbole. You know it to be true. We got Halloween Havoc coming up. And we got a December pay-per-view coming up, and we've got all kinds of women's title stuff. And I will say it for the 100th time, bring those tag team title belts to NXT so they can save them like they saved the Cruiserweight. We didn't even have the Cruiserweight title on there tonight. I didn't notice that until just now. We didn't have the Cruiserweight title or any of the Cruiserweight combatants on there tonight at all. We had a brief interview with Damian Priest that I don't think I mentioned. Basically, he's bragging about his win, bragging about his after party, and he hits on the interviewer, which is always fun, and basically does his version of a Goldberg Who's Next, which is fine. We got some fun shit with Shotzi and the Tank. We got, as I say, Halloween Havoc coming up. No Robert Stone this week, so that's kind of a bummer, but we did have Drake Maverick and Killian Dane, who punch each other, but yet carry each other out of the ring. Ever-Eyes were there to be punching bags. It goes a bit to say, look at how many people in NXT are injured right now, and you're still cranking out great shows. Now, I will say, I was watching NXT. I'm sure a lot of you that just want to be counterculture are watching AEW, and I'm sure some of my friends in the States are watching the VP debate. I'm going to take it separately out of wrestling for a second. I'll tell you how I'm going to watch the VP debate, because I watched the actual debate, and it's a lot of fun, just let me say. From up here, it's a sitcom. It just is. But I watched the Crowder stream. If you don't watch Steven Crowder on YouTube, you don't have to be a right-leaning person. I'm not particularly a right-leaning person, but Steven Crowder is fucking hilarious. And watch the Crowder streams of the debates. You'll have a lot more fun. It'll make you feel a little bit better about life before you feel a lot worse about life. So, I really want to know, more than any other time, because you guys will be watching this stream tomorrow on Thursday when this goes up live at 7 my time anyways. I'm really curious. I really want you to put it in the chat over there or in the box down below. What were you watching tonight? Were you watching NXT? Were you watching AEW? Or were you watching the VP's debate? Curious. Just want to know. They didn't. It's weird. They didn't announce anything for next week. So I'm kind of curious. I don't know what happened to the tag team title situation. I don't know whether we're going to solve that at Halloween Havoc, but I did say initially when they announced Halloween Havoc and when we got the return of Ember Moon, if they do Halloween Havoc and don't do Ember Moon versus Shotzi Blackheart, I think they're missing a trick there, because that could be a cool main event. I've rambled on for quite long enough and talked about way more than wrestling. I should stop now, shouldn't I, before I say something problematic. Anyways, I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all of these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys. So shut up, you're a freak like me.